In the early 1800s, the Moravian town of Salem was a bustling farm settlement. Early Moravian innovation featured the concept of town planning as a fundamental part of creating the community. The placement of Salem aligned with water resources as well as timber and stone to use for construction, which was an innovative thought process for colonial Americans.
Wells and water systems were uncommon in the U.S. in the 18th century, but in 1778, residents of Salem built one of the first public waterworks in the country with pipes cut from white oak logs. The availability of pumped water also allowed for one of the first firehouses in the country. The Moravians' careful, innovative practices has been the key to their survival over the years. This resulted in a unique town in which people sought for its products.
In 1800, the town began construction of the boarding school for girls, which would come to be known as Salem Academy and College. It is the third oldest school in the United States for the higher education of young women. In its early years of operation, the girls' school at Salem was led by the unmarried women of the Moravian community, who were known as single sisters. The single sisters lived together and were dedicated teachers and female students who were eager to learn mathematics, science, and geography, along with the arts of music, drawing, and needlework. The single sisters operated the school as well as the other successful entrepreneurial enterprises, which allowed them to be economically self-sufficient, unusual for the time period.
Another one of the important commerce centers for the town was the Salem Tavern. However, only people of color were seen fit to work there due to the social hierarchy of the community. Slaves were seen as a danger to the community by bringing in strangers who were often not aware of Moravian culture. Moravians decided the best way to protect their community was to deny slavery unless it was absolutely necessary to the town's agriculture or economy. There would be adjustments to this rule due to varying circumstances presented in the community. The largest exception was in the taverns, however, others were made as well. During the antebellum period of the Civil War, Moravians in most of North Carolina owned little to no slaves. This gave them less incentive for secession from the Union. The Hidden Town Project is a groundbreaking initiative to research and reveal the history of a community of enslaved and free Africans and African Americans who once lived in Salem, North Carolina. The histories involve the complicated use of slavery and enslaved people in helping build the town and their contribution to the mercantile prosperity of Salem. Hidden Town is a contribution of Old Salem's efforts to document the African American presence in Salem. In 2003, Old Salem began interpreting St. Philip's African Moravian Church, the only historic Black Moravian congregation in America.
Throughout most of the 18th and 19th centuries, Moravians remained a communal society. Mostly separated from the outside world, they did not own many slaves as much of the South did. Unlike other colonial societies, the Salem Church governed almost all aspects of life, including land leases, as residents could not own their own land. The church also controlled prices of goods, regulated pay raises, and only allowed church members to open up shops. Many Moravian communities, especially Salem, developed major trade and commercial centers. They had also developed a rich and unique cultural life, especially in their music. In the 1840s, however, control of trades in Salem was given up and land was provided north of Salem for Winston. The seat of the new county, Forsyth, was born.